Hello, 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 and welcome to the party. In this session of Mad Logic, I'll be talking about how I view autistic people in some ways to be like Vulcans. You know, the Star Trek Vulcans. The first point is emotions. Before I go talking how autistic people are emotionally similar to Vulcans, I'd like to first talk about something I read on the internet a few years ago. I was actually looking for dating advice for someone with autism to ask someone out. Didn't find anything, unfortunately. I'm not surprised. So there's a lot of people as talking about non-autistic people looking for advice for handling being in a relationship with someone with autism. And there was one woman who said that autistic people don't in fact have emotions, but like data feel parodies of emotions, which I consider to be absurd. But she was probably bitter after a bad relationship, I figure so. That doesn't help anyone to go blaming her, but just it's not true though. Okay, so back to the emotions. Autistic people have trouble dealing with their emotions and understanding other people's emotions. This does not mean, as just stated, this does not mean we don't have emotions, but which is something quite different. But Vulcans also have trouble with their emotions, and in fact, if you're familiar with the series, there's been several references saying that in some ways Vulcans feel emotions more intensely than humans. But and their ways of dealing it is obviously through logic, and to try to wipe out and try to suppress emotions and control them, whereas autistic people, we just have trouble dealing with them, I'd say. But this often shows that, like Vulcans, we have trouble expressing our emotions. Point 2 is logic. Vulcans are well known for their logical philosophies. They devote themselves to the pursuit of pure logic. And autistic people, although their logic is not always obvious, they are in their own way very, very logical. Phone again. Intelligence. Through the pursuit of knowledge, and Vulcans are a largely academic race in the pursuit of knowledge. Autistic people, Vulcans are clearly quite intelligent, and although it varies from person to person, as with normal people, but autistic people it's hardly unusual for them to be quite intelligent. Indeed, in the autism group I go to, there is in fact a guy who is a member of Mensa, and I believe generally speaking, people on the autistic spectrum are usually either average or to high intelligence. So just because sometimes we may seem to be stupid doesn't mean that we are. The last point is the peaceful element. The Vulcans are very peaceful people because, of course, violence is illogical. Well, doesn't mean that they're incapable of doing harm, but they only do it inflict harm when it is logical and perceived as necessary. But autistic people also often tend to have peaceful tendencies. That doesn't mean that we can't lose our temper because, as I said, with emotions, we don't exactly have a great control over the emotions that the Vulcans do. But generally, we do still prefer a more peaceful way. I'd be interested to know if you've got if you have autism or know someone with autism, and perhaps notice some other similarities. Please note it down below. I'll be really interested to hear those. If you found this interesting or enjoyed this little bit of mad logic, and please tap the like button below. If you have a view on these perceptions, if you have a disagreement or have a counter argument, please feel free to pop it down below, because debate is always healthy. And if you want to see more of my videos, do the logical thing and subscribe. Thank you. Live long and prosper. And remember, we're all a little mad.